Hey guys, look what I got over the weekend. It's the cool little brick car. Look at it go. So awesome. I've been wanting something like this for ages. And then the engine moves too when you move it. So cool. It's mostly connector pins, so it hurt my fingers so bad. But it's still something so cool, and I love it. Alright. Quick hydration before I get started. Alright. Okay, welcome everybody to the 5th episode of Burnout. This week it's all about Las Vegas, and yeah, it was a pretty good weekend, to say the least. Got to see some great racing, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I didn't really catch too much of the weekend. I didn't really watch I didn't watch the truck race, and I only caught the end of the Xfinity race, but I was focused on the Cup race a little bit more this weekend, so... Yep, Las Vegas is a pretty good track to say the least. It's sort of in that middle ground of, it's not really an endurance race like Pocono, but it's not really bumper to bumper, door to door like super speedways or short tracks. So I think it's right in that middle spot, and most people really like the track for what it is. It's a nice mix of competitive racing and more of strategy. And this week was no different. We got to see a combination of super competitive, super chaotic 3-wide, 4-wide racing, and just a lot of pit strategy racing as well. So overall, it was a fantastic weekend. And nobody benefited from this weekend more than Hendrick Motorsports. First things first, of course, William Byron, after dominating the first 2 stages, kind of struggled in the early parts of the 3rd stage, but he went back on to win the Las Vegas race for what I believe is his 4th career victory. Overall, yes, it was a fantastic race, and I think he definitely did deserve it for how well his performance was in the first 2 stages, managed to recover in the final stage, and put on a great finish, winning at Vegas. And Hendrick overall was a fantastic set this week. We got to see Kyle Larson dominate the second half of the 3rd stage, only for that last restart to kind of screw up his victory, so... I mean, yeah, it sucks, but I think Byron kind of deserved that one more for how well he dominated the first 2 stages. And then Alex Bowman was a pretty silent threat, but he was still up there. It wasn't like, he probably wouldn't have won it, but he definitely wasn't out of the running throughout the race. He was up front for a big chunk of the race, which really comes to show since he won the race last year. So overall, yep, fantastic run by 3 of the 400 drivers. The 4th one, you already know what happened, but if you don't, I'll talk about it later. But Hendrick Motorsports wasn't the only dominant factor throughout the race. The Toyotas were pretty good in this race as well. More specifically, JGR and 2311 were really up front throughout the race, so I think everyone other than the Fords were pretty much dominant factors throughout the race. I know Hamlin and Truex were pretty dominant in the later portions of the race. They were up front for a while. They couldn't really fend off the Hendrick crowd, but overall, they were fantastic in this race. Hamlin and Truex were pretty good, and then 2311 as well. Bubba Wallace was a pretty silent threat throughout the race. He was running up in the top 10 for a big chunk of the race. And then Tyler Reddick, as far as I'm aware, was probably the biggest gainer throughout the entire race. He started back in, I believe, 34th, and he made it all the way up into the top 10 by the later portion of the race. I feel like if he didn't have, I think he kind of bumped the wall late in the race. And I feel like if he didn't do that, he probably would have gotten a top 5. So Reddick is doing a great job at 2311. Just give it some time, and he will be back into contention for winning races again. He is guaranteed to be winning races this year, even if it's not going to be in the first couple races of the season. And then lastly, I kind of mentioned with the final caution with Almirola, I do feel like it felt kind of staged and that NASCAR kind of threw the caution a little bit prematurely. I mean, it kind of felt a little deserved at first, and then when you think about it, because he kind of spun it, but he still kept moving. He didn't stop on the track. So NASCAR just threw the caution super quickly, because it's something that I noticed NASCAR's been doing a lot recently. We saw that in the Daytona 500 with Daniel Suarez, and then this now. That NASCAR, whenever they see an opportunity to have an artificial finish, a sort of dramatic finish, they'll throw that caution out, like, instantly. And honestly, it's kind of annoying at this point, because we could have had a pretty good finish on our hands. So I feel like you should have gave it some more time, because like we saw Almirola save it. The only reason the caution came out was because they saw smoke, and I was like, oh gosh, we gotta shut everything down. Yellow flag, we're gonna finish in overtime. And overall, it's like, it's fun at the first time, but overall, it just makes the race extremely just kind of annoying and feel kind of artificial. I guess you could say the game was rigged from the start. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm bad at comedy. Why you guys subscribe to me? I'm so bad at this. Yeah, as for the truck race, I wish I knew Kyle Busch was going to be racing in it. Otherwise, I would have picked him for the Vegas win. I mean, I don't blame him. He's been having a rough couple seasons, so I feel like him dropping back down to prove that he is still capable of winning races wasn't a bad idea. But overall, I feel like it was kind of an easy win for him. And it kind of brings a question of, now that a lot of the big stars that were in the Xfinity Series, like Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson, Chase Elliott, William Byron, they're all out of the Xfinity Series and now up to the Cup Series. Does that mean we're going to be seeing Leech drivers back in the sport again? Which, we've been having a decent streak of Leech drivers not in the lower series and letting, you know, the stars of the Xfinity Series actually perform and give us some good results, which led to us having some fantastic rookie drivers over the past couple years. But is Leech Wins going to be back now? Well, if you ask me, yes and no. Yes, I do think we're going to be seeing some more Cup drivers racing in the lower series and probably winning a couple races, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to be as big of a factor as they have been in the early portions of like late 2010s, around 2017-ish, where they just kept winning every single weekend. Because as far as I'm aware, majority of the teams have either shut down their Xfinity programs or just aren't really focusing too much on them. I mean, Penske shut down their Xfinity program, Chip Ganassi shut down their Xfinity program, Roush shut down their Xfinity program, and then Hendrick Motorsports has Junior Motorsports, which is far better and having some fantastic Xfinity regulars in there, so they don't really need to bring down Cup drivers for the most part. I mean, we definitely have seen some Leech drivers win. We saw Kyle Larson, I think, win at Watkins Glen last year in the Xfinity Series. But overall, I don't think they're going to be as much of a factor as they were before. I mean, they're probably still going to be in the lower series, and they're probably still going to win a race or two, but I doubt they're going to have as much of an impact as they had in previous seasons. And then lastly, for the weekend, we had Austin Hill winning the Xfinity race, the first multi-time winner of the 2023 season. Kind of watched the ending, and I was kind of surprised. Chandler kind of got played at the end of the race. I kind of thought he had this one in the bag, but then Austin Hill kind of ran him down at the end of the race. I think he ended up finishing third. I think Allgaier passed him as well. I'm pretty sure Chandler didn't know that he was going to get played like that, but I mean, Austin Hill definitely showed that he is going to be a major factor for RCR in the coming years. Either he's going to be replacing Austin Dillon or even Kyle Busch if he retires in his time at RCR, or they might start up a third team again. So if they bring back a third car, I feel like Austin Hill would probably be the absolute best choice to be in that car. So Austin Hill definitely going to be a major factor for RCR heading into the coming years. And he's probably going to be winning some great races for RCR in the future. So he's already probably the biggest driver right now in Xfinity right now. So I am struggling to come up with sentences right now. I hate doing this, but I do it for you, even though nobody watches these, but whatever. And I kind of have a couple major criticisms with this race. And for the fourth time this season, the biggest issue I had this weekend is Fox. For some reason, Fox cares more about children in the stands than the actual race, which I don't mind a couple shots of fans in the crowd, but if you're gonna do that every 5 minutes instead of focusing on the track, that raises a lot of red flags. But yeah, Fox, you've been sort of been consistent with fixing your issues as of recent. I mean, you had bad camera shots in the Clash, you fixed that. You had a buttload commercials on the 500, you fixed that. And you kind of upped your energy in this race rather than Auto Club, but please, Fox, focus on the race. You can still show shots of fans in the crowd, just not all the time. Kind of gets old after a while, so yeah. So yeah, overall Las Vegas this weekend was a fantastic weekend, and I hope NASCAR does a lot more for Vegas because it's probably one of the best tracks in the sport at the moment. A lot of people have been saying we should bump that up to being the season finale instead of Phoenix, which overall I fully support that idea. Because Vegas is a fantastic and competitive track without being door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper like short tracks are. So I feel like it would be a perfect fit for the season finale because of its sort of balance between endurance and competitiveness. So I think it would be a fantastic fit for the season finale if you ask me. Still feel like Homestead Miami would probably be the best fit, but I think Vegas would be a close second. So yeah. And I got two other things to talk about before I head to my predictions. So if you have not yet, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications to know when I upload. We just did a Gartic Phone stream last night. It went pretty bad. Why? No! Yeah, and we're probably gonna do Roblox again this weekend. And then, of course, we got Random Cuts coming soon. And yeah, and then Burnout next week. I guess, same time next week. So yeah. Alright, hydration break. I've been doing this a lot more. Alright, other big news, probably the absolute biggest thing that happened this week that wasn't involved on the track has to involve Chase Elliott, who is out with a leg injury. Man, I'm starting to feel like whoever I predict to win the championship is cursed. We saw Bowman got injured late in the season at Texas, and now Chase Elliott's out with a leg injury. He broke his tibia while snowboarding, which kind of that really sucks. Like, man, I haven't broken anything, so I do not want to imagine what that would feel like. But yeah, Josh Berry replaced him in the Vegas race. Hendrick still has yet to announce who the driver at Phoenix is going to be. It's probably either going to be Josh Berry again or Justin Allgaier, depending on who they feel like would be the better pick. But overall, yep, it looks like he might be out for the next couple races, probably out for a couple months, which I really hope this won't affect his career. Depending on when he comes back, yeah, his season's pretty much done. He's not going to be able to really recover and probably win the championship. I mean, he could pull off a Kyle Busch 2015, but, I mean, I doubt it. So I'm more concerned about how this is going to impact his career. I'm a little worried that this injury is going to affect his career for the negative and that he's going to dip in performance. Hopefully that isn't the case, but I mean, recover soon, man. And hopefully we'll see you back in victory lane soon. Oh yeah. And then lastly, the last thing to talk about is a track that's back and returning. Rockingham is actually going through a lot of renovations as of recently. They have been repaved right now, and they're putting a lot of work to putting that track together, and that would be a fantastic thing if Rockingham was re-added to the schedule. That's a fantastic track. It's unique. It's in a great market, and overall it would be a fantastic fit for the season. Specifically, I feel like it could be right back to where it left off as the second race on the season. I mean, you had the biggest race of the season at Daytona, but you have no time to rest. You have to get back to the team shop and get everything going. You have to haul everything over to the other side of the country. And I feel like having Rockingham as the second race, sort of as a break week, so they don't really have to travel too far, only a short distance away from Charlotte. So I feel like it would be a great fit for a lot of the teams. It's sort of a rest weekend, sort of a home game kind of thing. So I feel like it would be a fantastic fit for the schedule if it is added. Alright, yep, I had barely anything to talk about again, but yet I still made it to 20 minutes on my recording time. So, before we end this video, we got one more race in the West Coast Swing, and that is Phoenix Raceway. And my predictions are going to be for the Xfinity race, I'm predicting that Chandler Smith doesn't blow it this time, and he wins his first Xfinity race. So, and it'll also be Kaulig Racing's first win of the season. So, yep, and then moving on with the Cup race, I'm predicting that we're going to be seeing the runner-up from the previous Phoenix race, Ryan Blaney, go on to win and snap his regular season winless streak, which he hasn't won a Cup race since 2021. aside from the All-Star race in 2022, but that doesn't count because that's not a points race. So yeah, alright, as you always know, I show you my script, except I'm only going to show you the backside because I don't like you. I do like you, but I don't want you guys seeing my secret information. Oh gosh, you just saw it. Okay, okay, there, you didn't see anything. There. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Here's the Lego card from earlier in the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you for episode 6, wrapping up Phoenix. I gotta get going. Okay, I have personal data that was shown on that paper. I don't want to get doxxed. Oh god! I don't know where I was going with that last part. Yes. Thank you guys for watching. And